Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Emily Hiles, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Private Ashley Shivers. 2026 marks 125 years of dedicated service by the Australian Army and its predecessors. Today, we remember and pay tribute to Gunner William Henry Brewer. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Returned and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by visitors to the memorial. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the national anthem. Please be seated if able. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths and floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to gunner William Henry Brewer. William Brewer was born in Brisbane on the 2nd of August 1917. Known as Bill, he was one of at least 4 children born to William Robert Brewer and his wife Florence. The family remained in Brisbane throughout Bill's early life, settling in Elizabeth Street in the suburb of Rosalie. After completing his schooling, Bill began working as a carpenter. In September 1935, at the age of 18, he joined the militia. 3 years later, on the 22nd of November 1938, he enlisted in the permanent military forces. Given the rank of gunner, he commenced training at Liverpool Camp on the outskirts of Sydney. In early December, Bill was transferred to the Darwin Mobile Force, but continued to train in Liverpool. The force was intended to provide surveillance and protection of the Darwin area amid growing concerns about the potential for war. Darwin was a rapidly growing regional town, its growth largely prompted by an influx of workers and troops constructing and manning new defence facilities. Darwin Mobile Force combined infantry and artillery soldiers and was the first regular infantry field force in the Australian military. As a gunner, Bill likely belonged to the artillery component of the force, although no mention of this is made on his service record. The force completed training in February 1939 and after parading through Sydney, embarked for Darwin in March. The men sailed to Darwin in 2 sections. An advance party embarked in the Morella, followed a week later by the rest of the force in the Montoro. After a brief stop in Brisbane, a quick return home for Bill, it continued to Darwin. Arriving in Darwin on the 29th of March, the force took up residence in Vestey's meatworks at Bullocky Point. The troops continued to train and were frequently tasked with unloading ships, constructing roads, fixing defences, and undertaking guard duties. The force also offered command and training opportunities to graduates from the Royal Military College, Duntroon, and members of the Australian Instruction Corps. When the Second World War broke out in September 1939, the fate of Darwin Mobile Force was thrown into question. Many of the men volunteered to join the 2nd Australian Imperial Force, and by August 1940, Darwin Mobile Force was disbanded and turned into the Darwin Infantry Battalion. Unfortunately, Bill was never given the opportunity to volunteer for the 2nd Australian Imperial Force or remain with the force as it transitioned into a battalion. William Brewer was hospitalised in late September, suffering from what would later be diagnosed as kidney disease. He died at Darwin Military Hospital on the 10th of October 1939. He was 22 years old. His remains were buried at Adelaide River War Cemetery in the Northern Territory. His name is also listed on the Roll of Honour on my left, among almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. A photograph of his headstone is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember gunner William Henry Brewer, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
If able, please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozier or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of our director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today. We wish you all a very pleasant evening.